So, hello and welcome to this week's bumper news episode of the Turn 5 podcast, because there was a hell of a lot of news this week. And there was also a Grand Prix.
I thought this was supposed to be a race review. It is, but everything happened.
Yeah, Formula One exploded for a week. First major piece of news, we'll do this one out of order and then follow the rest in order. Max Verstappen is the 2022 world champion. Woo!
I mean, Thanos, I am inevitable. .jpg, you know, like, come on, it was going to happen. He's like, what, 1 point more than the total amount of points available clear. I think it was.
Yeah.
He's got a 113 point gap and there are only 112 points left. So, yep, he's good. He's done. He can literally just sit at home for the rest of the season and he still wins.
Yeah. So congratulations, Max Verstappen, world champion. It became quite obvious after probably about Silverstone, though, that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because Ferrari were just buffoons.
Ferrari did Ferrari things.
Yeah.
Cool.
How long until they sack Binotto?
I reckon 3 weeks after the last race.
Hopefully they do, because that's quite a few seasons where he's been in charge. To be quite honest, no other words to describe it. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Let's go back to the start of last week, just after we'd recorded the episode.
Thanks, everyone.
It was...
It's broken!
Wait, was there anything announced, or was that not until the weekend?
It was the weekend.
Yeah.
The thing you're on about got announced Saturday morning.
For
I
us.
think, because
yeah.
I literally just landed in this country. I looked on my phone and seen Gasly to Alpine.
Yeah, see, I thought something happened last Tuesday.
Are you thinking about the announcement that the fact that the FIA was supposed to make an announcement but weren't actually going to make an announcement until next Monday came out last Tuesday?
Yeah, that happened. We were expecting the cost cap and we didn't get it, but more on the cost cap later, because we finally have.
We've decided to delay our response because we can.
Yeah,
that was pretty much the sum of the statement. Great.
Yeah. So moving on to Friday / Saturday, depending on what time zone you were in, about 1 o'clock in the morning our time, Alpine just went, "Lol, announcement."
I was about, like, I understand that it fits in with the time scale of stuff happening over there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just about to fall asleep and suddenly my phone just goes ballistic. And I'm like, what's going on? It's like, I'm getting notifications for F1 Media, F1 Alpine, everyone's posting tweets, and I'm just like, has someone died? Why is everything going off now?
I was about to fall asleep. I got my phone disturbed. Checked the notification before I went to sleep, and just like loads of tweets and all the stuff from the notification from F1. I was like, well, they go sleep for another 2 hours.
At least you put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Mine was on my table. And it was like...
Mine's always on Do Not Disturb. I don't like it.
Mine's just on vibrate, so... Yay!
Yeah, so they just sort of dropped Gasly to Alpine on us. There was the well-known, like, football transfer guy.
Yeah.
Romero was like,
CEO.
Yeah,
what a genius.
Here we go. This is going to happen. And everybody's like, what are you doing? This is not your sport.
Alpine were in on that. 100%.
He does transfers. Transfers are his thing. Doesn't matter if it's football or not. He's got the transfers.
And yeah, they just brought Gasly to Alpine, which is going to be interesting because the rumours are that Gasly and Ocon don't get on.
It goes back to their karting days.
Yeah. Basically, there was an incident.
Incident.
An incident
Just
on
an
track.
incident.
And they don't like each other. Hopefully, they can put that aside and
Well, that's
They
what
should be
Otmar
able
said,
to.
but we can't take anything Otmar says at face value. Hey,
yeah, true.
Oscar Piastri has an airtight contract. Does he now?
Oscar Piastri has signed for Alpine. Are you sure about that? So yeah, that happened, and then like 10 minutes later, AlphaTauri are like, "Let us get in on this action," and just drop De Vries to AlphaTauri. That one I was surprised about.
I mean, I wasn't because I'd heard the rumors, but at the same time, someone going from Mercedes to the Red Bull family is
Unless it's a bit
interesting.
like Albon to Williams, where he's
I-
still a Mercedes driver.
From the interviews that he's done, I think it's a complete cut.
Mm.
Because they had him during the red flag because he was there.
Yeah.
Was it during the red flag or was it during FP3? I don't know. They talked to him. They were all stood around looking bored. And he was just like, yeah, so I'll be joining Red Bull. Thanks to everyone at Mercedes, which is a pretty finalizing way of putting things. It's not like, thanks to the guys, we'll continue to work together. And it's like, nah, GG's.
I mean, he wasn't, it's like Mercedes aren't in Formula E anymore. There wasn't, apart from like being a reserve driver, there was no reason for him to stay with Mercedes. So like,
I mean, to be fair,
makes
with
sense.
Mercedes, he has like half the grid's reserve driver.
But this time now he has a full-time
Yeah.
seat. So
Don't get me wrong, I'm delighted for him getting a
Mm.
seat. I was just a little surprised that he was going from Mercedes to the Red Bull family.
Does pose the question of who's getting that Williams seat still.
Yeah, that's the only seat left on the grid now as well. Is that Williams' seat?
One
as
of
far
the
as I know.
No, because Haas haven't confirmed
Haas
Mick.
seat.
I can't lose my baby.
I think
So-
AlphaTauri should rebrand to Alpha Tiny because they're both tiny. Mick's like 5'4", 5'4", is he? I'd like to say.
I don't know. Hang on.
He's short.
Research time.
Yeah.
Nick De Vries.
It's the most depressing segment.
He's
Yes.
167 centimeters.
Which is
1 moment, I'm getting the calculator up.
Wait, did you say
13
177?
167.
Oh, he's smaller than me. Sure.
It's broken!
Yeah.
Look,
Is
I'm
66
180.
inches?
Maybe 5,
It's 12
Five.
inches in a foot.
5, 6.
Oh.
So 5'6".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
We know
65.7
Imperial.
inches.
Yeah. Okay, so he's 6'5.5".
wait, 167. You say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, 5'4".
No.
Taller than him.
Wow.
We can maths. Look, all I know is I'm 180 and that's apparently 5'11". So
We're all
I'm
taller
just
than
above
him.
that, which is apparently 6'3".
I'm 8'5".
oh yeah, sure. Hang on, let me just whack out the photographic evidence from London.
Anyway,
Got you
moving on.
stood in front of a building. I'm sure it's only about 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Broken!
8'5", mate.
So, yeah, De Vries to AlphaTauri, Gasly to Alpine. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Alpine is now like the ultimate French team.
Yeah, but it's still based in Enstone.
Yeah. Do they race under a French license or is it a British
I
license?
believe they still race under a French license. I'm not entirely sure, but
Which would be interesting if one of them wins a race because you would get the oddity of only hearing one
one
national.
national anthem. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's because part of their stuff is still based in France.
Yeah,
Um,
and they are
French.
Yeah, they are for all intents and purposes Renault Formula One team with a
Right.
different badge.
So now that Nick has signed with AlphaTauri instead, who's the money on for the Williams seat Who you betting?
Nico Hockenberg. No, that would be nice, but not going to happen, I don't think. Probably Logan Sargent if he can get the super license points.
I saw someone saying they think that's why Williams have been delaying it for so long, seeing if he gets the super license points.
I mean, that'd be a long wait. That's literally the end of the season wait.
Maybe Stoff?
The rumors I'd heard were Nico, Logan, and potentially Mick, but Mick was a very outside choice. Who knows?
They could just be waiting on what Haas are doing. So I feel like if Mick doesn't sign with Haas, he'd go to Williams.
But then the question is, who are Haas going to sign?
Now,
Could be
hold on to your hats here, folks, because the latest rumor I heard was Nico Hockenberg.
Whoa! That would be quite something. We have Ocon and Gasly scrapping in one team and Magnussen and Hülkenberg in the other.
The pair that so famously get on with the suck my honey.
Yeah, stuck my mate. What a line. What a press.
So, I mean, how K-Mag's only had one podium, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And that was in his first race.
But that is still one more than Nico Hülkenberg.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, take that one race as the ultimate outlier. Every other race has been no podiums for either driver.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is a serial choke artist when they're in a podium position.
I don't know how some of the times he was just very unlucky.
Other times he threw it away.
Yeah.
Like not even just a
was one of the
gentle
bad
toss. It was a full-on yeet.
Yeah. But anyway,
Speaking of Haas, did you see Mick Schumacher led a race?
he did. Did
Was
he?
The boys
Has he
that
been
go.
attributed with a lap led?
No,
Oh,
because actually, I don't know.
because that was something we were talking about a few weeks back. Is what actually counts as a lap led?
I think it depends on where he overtook Alonso, because Alonso came into pit, but the
See, if he
timing
overtook Alonso-
line is very
Yeah.
early up the straight.
If he overtook Alonso before the timing line, you would have to assume that Mick Schumacher has one lap led this season.
Formula1stats.com. But no, I don't think so. I mean, considering the length of track that he led for was less than the length of the straight.
Doesn't matter.
It's
He
gonna.
led the race. His
It
name
was-
appeared in P1.
It was so good. And Haas tweeted it, and we love that.
Yeah.
Hash social media admins are the ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's-
It's Alonso.
Oh, did Alonso get the lap led?
Yeah, it's
Damn it.
Alonso with
Must
one.
have been just before the timing line. Oof.
I think that lap was when I woke up for the race again, and I was so confused seeing Mick be like,
There's a Haas in first place.
Mick's in first.
Imagine if you woke up from a coma just at that exact moment.
Hmm.
There's a Haas in the lead. What is going on?
Well, it depends when you went into the coma, because you could have gone into the coma in like 2006 and
Okay.
Schumacher,
And
and
it's-
you woke up in 2022.
You
yeah.
still see
Oh,
MSC.
babe,
He's still racing.
Schumacher dominating again.
Who is this Haas team?
No, because you'd be thinking still, because you wouldn't
Yeah.
know what happened to him.
And you're just sitting there like, what's an Alpine?
Well, if you went in 2006, you'd be like, who were Mercedes? Who was Red Bull? Who was Alpine? Who
Well, you know
was
Red Bull.
Haas?
You've
Who
only
was
just-
Aston Martin?
AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's AlphaTauri? Yeah, they were Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd only just know Red Bull, so
Yeah,
Who's Alfa Romeo as well? They weren't on the grid.
that was BMW Sauber back in those
Yeah.
days. Got my
That's where I
facts, yo.
started my career mode on F1 2009. BMW Sauber led them to their first world championship.
I can't even remember what team I picked for that.
To be fair, you only get the choice of BMW Sauber or Toro Rosso.
Yeah, real choice that.
We eventually made it to the race. Richard, I'll let you take the lead on this because, as I said in our pre-discussion, I've not seen it, was not well, and because of the red flags and everything, the recording's bad.
We've
This is
kind
gonna
of,
be fun. This
we've
is gonna
kind
be
of,
fun.
we've kind of missed a couple of bits of news.
Have we?
W series.
Oh, I was going in chronological order.
Okay, fine.
That's
So-
after the race.
We'll do that after then. Spoiler
Do that
alert,
after
W
the
series is
rant.
coming. So, lights out and away we go. I'm still asleep, but I did actually watch it back. And you couldn't see anything. About 2 seconds after the car started going, there was so much spray. But given the amount of water on track, you'd think the teams would think to put on the extreme wet tires. No, the teams think they are so terrible and so slow, which was evidenced later, that they were all on intermediates, which meant that, well, okay, so Seb spun after some contact at turn 1. Joe Guan Yu spun on the exit of the hairpin, and then Sainz absolutely binned it on the turn that's not really a turn in the dry, just before you head down into Spoon. Clouted the barrier.
Claim.
Yeah, clouted the barrier, took the advertising hoarding off. Gasly, shout out to Gasly here. What an effort, picking up litter while going round the circuit, picks up that advertising hoarding, takes it back to the pits. Can you imagine the look on the mechanics' faces as he turns up with that?
The Rolex board.
How do I get this off?
To be fair, he would just look like a fan after the race.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing is you seeing Gazzy's on board of it. You don't see the board at all. It just appears out of nowhere.
Mate, the one that scared me was Sainz is on board when he hits the wall because he bounces slightly back towards the track.
Sure.
And the nose of his car is so close to getting absolutely clouted by someone else. And you just know that nobody can see that he's there. And his car's facing the wrong way, so you haven't even got the benefit of the rain light blinking at someone.
Yeah.
So
You're just having to trust the double flashing yellows on your dash.
yeah, hold on to your butts. But then everything kicks off. So Gasly pitted for a new front wing, which is why he was so far behind the rest of the train. The safety car was brought out to lead them round.
At the usual.
Yeah, took them past the scene of the incident, at which point there was a tractor on the track, not in the gravel, not off the circuit, on the tarmac. So when Gasly comes back past later, trying to catch up to the pack, because that's what you do, even under safety car conditions and double waved yellows, you're still trying to catch up to the pack, so your speed is not necessarily reduced as the rest of the field. You don't expect to see a tractor right next to the racing line.
Well, he didn't until the last second.
Exactly, that's the point.
Yeah.
Now, it's one, I know some people will make some like connections. Oh, but we saw a tractor on the track while the cars were going round at Monza. Yes, that was bright sunshine. You could see for miles, not 2.8 meters in front of you.
Yeah. While it is standard practice for recovery vehicles to be allowed onto the circuit under safety car conditions, with such reduced visibility, standard practice does not apply.
And I don't really think we need to remind anyone, but 2014 Japanese Grand Prix, literally the same thing horrendous rain conditions, tractor on circuit, boom. And we lost Jules Bianchi.
Yeah, there is a slight difference. I did look, and the Bianchi crash was only under yellow flags.
Yeah, well,
which is
that
basically
was
what created the virtual safety car.
Yeah, that's the thing.
This was also under safety car conditions, but so there is some differences, and the FIA will point that out. But given how
the
bad,
FIA will do anything but accept responsibility.
Given how bad the visibility was, the FIA do need to put their hands up and look, well, we fucked up a wee bit here, boys.
And yet they didn't. Instead, they just slapped Gasly with a 20-second time penalty and went, "You're a naughty boy."
They have launched an investigation.
Yeah, the investigation isn't going to be anything except, oh, look, Gasly was going too fast for the conditions. We didn't do anything wrong. We did it by the book. Litty-dee, next week. Let's go. The FIA cannot be trusted to investigate themselves. Look at last year, all right? The FIA investigated the FIA. What happened? Michael Massey left. Goodbye. That's it. I mean, we now follow the book. And we had a boring race finale in Monza. Wow, what an investigative outcome. If you're going to actually launch an investigation, have a third party to do the investigating. Nobody self-criticizes themselves enough as a governing body. They'll all look for ways.
Something serious happens.
Exactly. If Gasly had absolutely clapped that tractor and died, then there'd be an investigation. Then they'd say, oh, we f***ed up. That tractor shouldn't have been there. But no, just because it's a near miss, I guarantee you 3 weeks' time, the report will come out, or however many weeks it is till we go racing in Austin. The report will come out and it will say, we followed the procedural book. Everything was done right. Gasly was driving too fast. We will learn next time to not put the marshal on track when he was, because there was a marshal picking up debris as well. So they'll just leave the tractor there and they'll just go, we did it absolutely as it should have been done.
Now that works if they say, yeah, we did it as it should have been done by the book then, but we're changing it.
Will they?
Probably not.
No, because this is the FIA and they don't want to devalue themselves by admitting that they f***ed it big time.
Yeah. But let's wait and see. They might surprise us.
It's also enter the sky pad.
Oh, yes. Let's watch the four pundits gaslight the ever-loving out of Pierre Gasly.
Apart from
again, haven't
Jenson
seen
Button. It. What a guy.
That's because Jensen was in the com box, not at the sky pad.
Yeah. But he's also backing Gasly, the absolute legend. And Simon was as well.
Well, there are a few drivers still on the grid, and now Jensen's in the com box as well, that were around in the 2014 race, that were there when it happened, and that, you know, that's probably quite scary for them to see the same thing almost happening again. It's one of the things I saw online and that I very much agree with was Bianchi's dad put out a statement that said that this is extremely disrespectful to the memory of Jules, to our family, and to the ongoing commitment of the races. And it's like, the fact that the FIA haven't actually apologized yet is nuts. You lost one of your up-and-coming rising stars in a similar incident at the exact same circuit, in similar conditions, and you won't say sorry until you've done your investigation. And instead, you're tainting the legacy of an up-and-coming driver. You've literally just ruined it. If you want, like, up until now, it's been great. We introduced VSC, we introduced the Halo. These are all things that would have severely benefited Jules. But now you've just thrown it. Yeah, now you've just thrown it all out the window because you made the same mistake again. In fact, you made a worse mistake because Jules's tractor was in the gravel trap. Now you're putting the tractor on the circuit.
On the racing line. It was
But,
literally
that's
on the
his-
exit of the corner.
Is nuts. And the fact that they won't apologize for it is honestly the most dehumanizing thing for Bianchi's family I can think that the FIA could possibly do.
Yeah.
There was I think I saw a video on Twitter of them. You know how when they lift the car up, they've got a couple of marshals like making sure it's steady and like all that.
Mm.
I saw one of them. I think it must have been at the front wing, because the car. So like that's the track. The car was kind of like that on the track, so it's sticking out from the thing. So obviously he was by the front wing, and you could see him like just run back to the other side to avoid Gasly at the very last second. And that I can't imagine being one of the marshals then, just thinking like the FIA has, what's the word, kind of like faulted them as well by putting them in that situation.
Yeah, they've told them it's safe to enter the
Yeah.
circuit because no marshal enters the track without permission from race control.
Yeah.
Unless they're like well in the gravel trap and it's the first responder marshals. They can go,
Yeah.
but anyone else needs to wait on race control. And race control have went, go.
And these are volunteers. These guys aren't paid.
Yeah.
That's the ludicrous thing. They have risked normal people's lives. It's one thing to say that the racers risk their lives every time they step in the car, which they do. Fair enough. That's their job. All right. They accept that there is an inherent risk in their job. The marshals are not there to risk their life. They are there to support the traveling circus of Formula One. And this has really made it into a circus.
Yeah.
The FIA is the ultimate clown show. Like, I know we joke that Ferrari are clowns, but Jesus Christ, it comes from the top, doesn't it? Can you imagine if Gasly had hit that marshal?
But even if he'd hit the tractor, it would have like gone straight into the marshal, really.
Yeah, the
'Cause he
car
was,
that was
like,
attached
holding-
to the tractor with
Yeah, he was
the
holding
marshal.
the front wing, so he
Yeah.
probably would have gone under the tractor into Gasly, probably.
It's just, yeah, I don't understand why the FIA are so far up their own arse they can't make an apology.
Well, Gasly shouldn't have been speeding.
That was after the incident, Ben. God, read the document.
Yeah, to be fair, the decision document doesn't actually penalise Gasly for the tractor into the. It
I
says
think
he
there
was-
would. I think there's been
It's
enough.
coming.
There's been
It's
enough
coming.
uproar. There's been enough uproar over the fact that he was penalised anyway, because he was penalised for going too fast, and yet he was respecting his delta on his steering wheel.
Yeah,
It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a fine for saying what he said.
I think everyone else on the grid would pay his fine for him.
yeah. To be fair, the
It'd be like an
stewards
FIA
did actually
thing.
use the tractor thing as a mitigating circumstance and reduced Gasly's penalty.
Which begs the belief of what the hell was it going to be?
Probably a 10-second stop go. So a 30-second time penalty. And didn't Lando get 4 penalty points for like taking not pitting under red flags in Baku last year?
Baku.
Was it Latifi?
Yeah, that was Latifi.
I think Lando
No,
did
Lando
it.
did
Well.
it.
Yeah, Lando did it, wasn't Latifi?
Yeah, Lando missed the pit
Missed
entry
the pit
because
entry.
he was sort of hovering over it, asking his race engineer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we
Yeah,
absolutely
Latifi was-
slated Lando saying, like, come on, you know
Yeah.
what red flags mean.
Red flag procedure's the same from karting all the way to Formula One.
Yeah.
Get in the
Latifi was
pits.
The second red flag, wasn't it?
Yeah, when
Was
Max
Max's
crashed.
one.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
I think that was speeding rather than like missing the pits.
no, because Latifi carried on
No,
past the scene
yeah.
of Max's crash
Yeah.
instead of going
Because
into
it
the
was
pits.
It was a safety car, but they went to the pits, wasn't it? At that point, I think it was.
Ooh, FIA statement on the Formula One Japanese Grand Prix.
We did nothing wrong.
This one might have been what they put the other out yesterday, but let's see. The FIA website has taken a bit of a because
Yeah, it
everyone's
says-
trying to read the financial regulations one.
Says
Eh.
Gasly plus Gasly's fault plus ratio.
L
L
plus
for
it's Gasly's
Gasly
fault
plus ratio.
Yeah.
plus
The
tractor
mask.
plus it's Michael Massey's fault plus ratio.
Yeah. Let's all lol at Massey. Here we go. While it is normal practice to recover cars under safety car and red flag conditions, due to the particular circumstances and also taking into account feedback from a number of drivers, the FIA has launched a thorough review of the events involving the deployment of recovery vehicles during the Japanese Grand Prix. This is part of the common practice of analysis of all race incidents to ensure continual improvements of processes and procedures.
Okay, that's all well and good, but we shouldn't need continual process and improvement on a process that we improved upon 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, in fairness, there's nothing wrong with making it better, but the
Also,
reasoning for it is bad.
The length of time at which the red flag was flown before Gasly blasted past the tractor is like less than 2 seconds. So them mentioning the red flag is kind of because there's no way anyone's going to be able to react and slow down in a safe manner in that time frame.
Yeah.
So
there was also a tweet I seen from a guy called Glenn Freeman 39. So on November 14th, 2020, he tweeted, "Sorry, Jules, apparently we didn't learn because the Turkish Grand Prix, so qualifying, Stroll went past a tractor that was in the gravel or something like that, I think. And then
I don't actually know if anyone actually went past that tractor in Turkey. They released the cars when it was still on circuit, but it was on its way off.
Yeah, but it's still
they were just a bit over eager in releasing the cars.
Yeah. But less than 2 years later, he's tweeting out about the same incident with Gasly, the fact that there was a recovery vehicle on the track.
Yeah.
Which is mental.
it's just so wrong.
It is. We did eventually get back underway.
Yeah, I was fully asleep at this point.
Yeah, but you said you've watched the back.
Yeah, I know. So everyone, obviously, it was a rolling restart, so everyone was mandated to start on full wet tires. Fair enough. I mean, they'd waited like, I don't know, like 2 hours or something dumb.
Yes, it was long.
A couple of extreme ballers went, put the inters on. So I think it was Seb and Latifi came in pretty much straight away. And then the almighty commentary of Sebastian Vettel is 5 seconds a lap faster than the leaders. What? And George Russell's going like, they're only fast because they're in clear air. And it's like, no, the tire's quicker. Jesus Christ. And it was really evident to see when it was just Mick left on his own on the wets. Because Mick was leading the race, albeit briefly, and then got swallowed up by Max, Charles, Perez, and ended up in like, I don't know, 8th before they were like, okay, we should put... Okay, I can understand wanting to hold out for a safety car, but at the same time, people have gone a couple of laps and not binned it. They're probably okay now. So just cut your losses and go, you know? If they boxed 4 or 5 laps earlier, Mick probably could have finished, I think, maybe P12, P13, somewhere around there. That's if my rough maths is right. I'm trying to figure it out, but, you know, there's a lot of if, buts, and maybes in there.
And yeah, it's Formula One. Anything can happen.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I feel like the team, it's unfortunate. Like, I know the team made a gamble and it didn't pay off. But when Mick's trying to, you know, drive for his seat, it doesn't reflect well if you look at it on first glance and it's like Mick finished P16 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand the teams want to, because he was very far up the grid. He'd done incredibly well to get there, but sometimes you got to know when. Well, I suppose it's the old poker saying: you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. That was a fold moment.
Yeah.
Whereas Seb went all in, and
Right,
in fair, that was an inspired choice. Just about held off Alonso on the line.
That was mental.
I think if Alonso had pitted when Jensen had said to pit, which was about 2 or 3 laps earlier, he'd have got him.
Yeah.
Probably quite comfortably as well. But that actually also led to another rather amusing piece of commentary, because Joe came in and fitted fresh inters, and then he'd done his out lap and then a normal lap, and Crofty comes over and goes, and Joe is 6 seconds a lap faster than his teammate. What's going on?
Unusual.
Well, I mean, it just gives you an idea of how much strategy plays a part, because it was tricky to overtake. It's always tricky to overtake in Japan, but it was still doable. We saw we saw plenty of overtakes, which was a nice surprise, to be honest, considering I'm thinking back to the last couple of wet races we've had, so Imola, Singapore, where it's been wet to dry, and it's in a way hampered the racing experience because there's been a dry line, so people have put the dry tires on, but then you can't stray from the dry line, so you can't really make an overtake. Whereas this was consistently damp, maybe a slightly less greasy line was made, but you could still make moves. George made moves in a place I didn't even know you could make moves. The exit of turn 6. The exit of a corner. Who makes overtakes on an exit?
Yeah. Which one's turn 6 again?
The last of the S's, just before Dunlop.
Well, that is a very good place to make an overtake.
Yeah.
But he'd done it twice as well.
Yeah, exactly. It was almost a carbon copy. He was like, oh, okay. I can make
Want to
this
see
move.
me do it again?
Yeah. And it was just like, fair play. He just had the traction and just went around the other guy.
I mean, to be fair, we've seen George making overtakes in some impressive places before. I remind you of the S's section of Bahrain Outer when he went wheel to wheel with Bottas and was just like, okay, please.
Slightly more mitigating circumstances on the fact that Bottas's tyres were absolutely shot.
But then I'm pretty sure he done it again to somebody else like 2 laps later.
Probably, yes. That was probably after his 2nd or 3rd pit stop to put him on nice shiny soft tyres after his puncture.
It was his. This was the one before the puncture.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it was just after the safety car.
After they cocked up his tyres for the first time.
Way! Good old Mercedes bottling a pit stop.
Yeah, true. That's the one thing that they've always had an Achilles heel with.
Let me just make a montage real quick.
It's like a lot of the times the double stack comes off perfectly, and other times they just colossally.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be a double stack for you guys to pick up, though.
Yeah, Germany 2018 says it low.
There it is. Have you seen the edit where someone's taken that and put the Benny Hill theme tune over it?
I think I've seen the one where they put the Waluigi pinball theme over it.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I rated that one. But anyway, so race starts to come to an end.
Or does it? So we had probably the most confusing set of commentary ever because no context was given over what it actually meant. Instead, we just had Crofty continually banging on about, we've had enough laps to do column 2, but not column 3. Right. What the f is column 2? Now, I know, because I've bothered to read that column 2 is up to 50% race distance and column 3 is 50 to 75% race distance. The average Joe does not know that that's what column 1, 2, and 3 are.
Yeah, they've not read the regulations.
No. So just say column 3 is for over 50% race distance, which means we will award 3/4 of the points.
Yeah.
Just that last sentence is all that was missing. Because they didn't specify that's how the point system worked. They said, oh, we're currently getting enough to get half points. Brilliant. So what the f happens when we move to column 3?
Yeah. However, they were all wrong.
Yes.
Because
The race didn't finish under red flag conditions.
yes, if you read that article in the regulations, it
I know
states
my stuff.
that the columns only come into play if a race is suspended under, I think it's Article 5.7 of the regulations, and cannot resume. The race resumed. So, therefore,
Full points.
I think what we've established is that if a race finishes due to time, and we were having this discussion a few weeks ago, then it counts as a full race distance. So, therefore, full points. Commentators, read the regulations.
In fairness, I think the commentators have got it how it should be.
Yeah, but it's not how it
But
is.
that's not how the I understand that the regulations explicitly state that it has to finish under red flag conditions. But I would like to raise the suggestion of any race that finishes at said distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're only going for half the distance, why should you still get full points just because you've run out of time?
If you're only going for 2 laps behind the safety car, why should you get any points?
Because George
Spa
Russell wanted a
2021.
podium.
You could
And
also
Max
say
Verstappen wanted a race win.
if they do like the red flag thing, they could
Yes.
start the race, do 10 laps. It gets like rained off for 2.5 hours or whatever. In the last 20 minutes, they can have a little race again, a little sprint or whatever.
And it's still
So
full
you could
points.
do still full points, even though they've done like a quarter of the race.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
'cause there
that's
was
why I
something
think
that
it's
they
wrong.
were talking about where it's like if 50% of the laps have to be completed, but I think that only applies to the sprint. Like reading the regulations, I'm pretty sure that's only for the sprint.
Yeah, there is a section that is just like if the sprint is red flagged.
Yeah.
But no, I still think that a race distance is the race distance, and it doesn't matter if the clock time runs out. Like in Singapore, and this is something I want to raise with the Sky graphics people, because it's all well and good having the countdown, but I want to know how many laps have gone so that I know how many points are going to be awarded. Like, or
I mean,
just
as
for
we've
the.
established, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, but
But at the same time, I didn't even know that we only lost 2 laps of running from Singapore until I watched a chain bear video a week later.
I mean, you could just have looked at the classification.
Could
log.
have done, but I didn't, because obviously I can't be bothered with that. But at the same time, just it's not that hard. It's just a little extra line. Like they've got it where it says lap X of Y, and they've got it where it says countdown. Put the two together. Have a nice little, little block of graphic.
Yeah.
But instead, no, that's impossible. And especially when the commentators are banging on about how many laps have been done, because that affects the points, even though it didn't. A lap counter would have been quite useful. So, yeah, I don't know. I know it will end as a timed thing. It's always, it's the same with the junior formula. It's always 60. Formula 2 is always 60 minutes plus 1 lap, or X of X laps. And it's always the case that if there's too many safety cars or a red flag or whatever, then it overruns its allotted time. Fine. But we all know that's the case. So if you've got a timer, I still want to know how many laps we're on.
Yeah.
I don't even care if you just remove the bit that says lap of and then the total number. Just tell me what lap we're on.
Yeah. So
Is that too much of an ask?
the
Yes.
regulations. It talks about the points,
And it talks about the prizes.
but then is mentioning fastest. So this bit specifically about what points are awarded.
Oh yeah, we
and
did.
it's
We wouldn't get
no
fastest
point-
lap if we didn't reach 50% or something.
Yeah, no point will be awarded if the fastest valid lap time is achieved by a driver who was classified outside the top 10, or if the leader has completed less than 50% of the race distance. So no fastest lap point, but what about normal points?
Nobody
There's
cares.
nothing about if the race is completed when you get full points.
Well, Joe was outside the top 10 anyway, so he didn't get the point.
Yeah.
He did get
Did we
fastest lap, though.
complete the required 50%?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Okay. Must have just been that because
it was like 2 laps over.
Yeah, I was so there's not there's about 50 something laps in Suzuki.
50
I've only done 28,
Yeah, it's 53 laps.
53. So yeah, we just made it.
Literally 2 laps.
Hmm.
Column 3.
All of this is available in the hold on.
Brightness, Jesus Christ.
In the regulations for when the FIA website unfolds itself.
I mean, I'm on it. It seems to be doing okay now.
Yeah, I can get the PDF off my phone.
Oh, I just happened to have the PDF saved from yesterday when we were all talking about the points. But anyway, moving on.
I can't say much. I've just sent the PDFs to my Kindle, so I have something to read when I'm at work.
Oh my god.
That is really
think-
bad.
Yeah,
Because
you need help. You need an
Which
intervention.
version did you download? 2022 or 2023?
There's 2023.
Yeah, the 2023 sporting regulations are there as well, which also talks about the new qualifying format for next year.
Oh, for God's sake.
This is like really nerdy.
So while Nia decides to nerd out and download the new ones,
For context, I work in a gift shop now, and there's no one there during the day.
nice.
So
Just run around on TikTok.
Richard
have
looks
enough data for
confused when
that.
I mentioned the new qualifying format.
I haven't heard anything about this yet. Should I have heard things about this?
So it's called the revised qualifying format, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
great. Is that going to be like the revised qualifying format where nobody actually went out and set a lap time and everybody got eliminated while they're in the
revised
pits?
qualifying format. And in the 2023 sporting regulations, it affects the amount of tyres that you're given for the weekend. Because
Right,
in
yeah. I think of
Q1,
that.
you must run hard.
Oh, yeah. And then mediums and then
Q2
softs.
mediums, Q3 softs. That will be trialled at 2 events
Oh, okay.
next
Fine.
season.
Yeah, give it a go.
Presumably not sprint weekends, because aren't they locked into the soft compound tyre for those?
Yeah, you get,
Yeah.
the regs state that you get given like 5 sets of softs.
Q1 would be really fun having drivers doing about 6
Warm-up laps.
warm-up laps, yeah.
We fueled you
What?
for 7 laps. Right.
There's
Lots
about
of cars
20.
on track, though.
Yeah. Not a lot of action.
Yeah. Like, I'll enjoy that if they do it at Silverstone,
Yeah.
Oh, great. You get to see people warming up.
because that was the
See,
fun
yeah.
thing about...
Verstappen takes pole with a 2 minutes 50 seconds.
Because that was the fun thing about qualifying this year at Silverstone. Because it was wet, they just stayed on track. There was lots of cars going round. And Goat Tiffy constantly going off in front of me, which was quite funny.
Woo. Speaking of, we need to
Yeah.
form, I think we need to form a prayer circle. Because
Tiffy points.
hell hath frozen over and Gotifi scored 2022 points.
Is he still in 21st?
No, he is 20th. By virtue of the fact he has completed more races than Nick de Vries.
Yeah, so has obviously got more for
Finishes.
instance, 11th place finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Nick de Vries.
So Latifi has salvaged what remains of his career and is now 20th of a 20-driver championship.
For now.
Nick de Vries to make a guest appearance in a Mercedes wins
Nick-
the race.
Nick de Vries gets the Red Bull dry.
We've put you in for this weekend FP1 session. Checo miraculously suddenly comes down with illness. Oh, we're going to use Nick. Nick
wins the race.
Fastest lap point.
Yeah. Where would that put him in the championship?
I was
actually?
just thinking the same thing. So he's
It'd be
got
up
2
by-
points.
Yeah,
And
so
he'd-
where would
race, surely.
28 points put him?
He'd be in 13th. He'd be 1 point behind Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
Just space it up a little. It's Brazil.
Sprint weekend, 8 points for the win.
Sprint race.
Be 11th.
He does the double.
He'd leapfrog Seb Vettel.
Oh, that would be horrendous.
But yeah, Latifi, his gamble paid off and he managed to hold on. So fair
Yeah.
play.
Fair play to Go TV.
Only came about 16 races too late to save your career, but you know.
And eventually, the people who weren't paying attention to the Formula One graphics on the screen, oh yeah, you were moaning about Sky's graphics. Don't moan at Sky. That's FOM's fault. They control the graphics.
The same thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's graphics. I
only-
moaned at the graphics person.
The only graphics that Sky control are, do you know how like the sort of red ones that appear when like, Otmar's on the pit wall?
And whoever's talking when they're like interviewing someone.
Yeah, they are Sky's graphics. Everything else is Formula One and the world feed. So, because you get them at the track, you can't read them depending on where the screen is, but they're there. The Monza screen was quite useful. The Silverstone one, I had to use my phone zoom just to read what position everybody was in. It was not fun.
Binos, mate. You just need a pair of binos.
Yeah, might invest in them for next year.
What?
Binos, binoculars.
Never heard them record that.
Because no one's ever referenced binoculars in a slang term.
Yes, they have. Otherwise, I wouldn't know the slang term.
Anyway,
You get the binos, fam. Come on.
for
Oh,
those who
man,
weren't,
shift me and run off with my binos.
for those who weren't paying attention to Formula One's graphics and realizing that they were giving full points to the race, Charles Leclerc got a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Was it worth a 5-second time penalty, everybody?
I think the bit after the cutting of the chicane was worth more of a 5 seconds than the cutting of the
Yeah.
chicane.
I agree. I don't think he gained an advantage cutting the chicane, but he did block off Perez going around the outside.
Big time. Yeah. So, I mean, either way, I would have given him a 5-second penalty. Whether or not it was for the incident they exactly specified, you know,
Yeah, I'd just
end
say
result's
it's for-
still the same.
I'd just say it's for not giving a
Sylvie
car's width.
says hello.
But yeah, watch all the people come out of their troll holes now. Oh, Max Verstappen's won a second world championship because of FIA decisions. He was going to win it anyway.
Yeah,
Get over
that's
yourself.
already begun.
Yeah.
Like, they're all over the place. It's not fun.
Oh God. And then you can tell who the salty Mercedes fans are in the comment sections because it's congratulations, Max Verstappen, for winning your first World Drivers' Championship. It's like, right, just
reaching the cost gaps out deeper.
Did you see that Cap Stappen or something was trending today
God.
on Twitter?
you know what I think would be really beneficial for the health of the sport? To just stop interviewing Toto Wolff and Christian Horner.
Just only
Because-
interview Gunter Steiner.
They are the biggest drama queens of the paddock. So just sideline them, let everything blow over, and then let them out of their cages. Let Netflix do all the stirring next March. leave the actual.
Well, it won't be
now.
next March because of how early the season starts if they want to get it out before.
Well, okay, well, I've just gone off historically
It'll
when
be
they've released it. All right, okay, just don't shoot the messenger. Jesus,
We'll need to,
Is
we'll
it
need to get it in
usually-
February.
Is it usually before or after testing?
it's usually in the gap
It's in the
between
gap,
testing
yeah.
and the first race.
So
Well, I
Which
say
this year
usually.
was like a week.
Oh yeah, there's
Oh,
also
yeah.
that F1 like F1 fixed as well. It's like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
F1 XEDs going around.
It's just it's like, come on, any other driver does that, it's a penalty.
Exactly.
It's also not the
Except at
driver's
Silverstone.
fault. It's not the driver's fault. Red Bull have gone over the budget.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know they say like in the regulations it stipulates like what penalties can be applied for minor breaches. Like would, and I know it says like a championship deduction.
I saw
Would that I assume that would be
I
Constructors,
saw
yeah.
Sky posted like when it was
Drivers
first
or
announced.
constructors.
It shouldn't be drivers.
No,
I'd
like,
like-
drivers have nothing to do with it. They just
Yeah.
drive the car. They're just given a
Yeah.
car to drive, theoretically.
yeah, I'd
Penalty
say
drive.
penalizing a driver for something that the team has done would be inherently harsh.
Didn't they do
Yeah.
that to Racing Point 2020?
No,
Did
Yeah, they
they
took points off the
deducted?
drivers.
no, they took points
No,
off the
it's took off
constructors,
the
but not
team.
the drivers. It was a
It was 15 points
7.5
per car.
No,
Or
7.5
7.5
per
points per car.
car.
Yeah.
We're leading to a 15-point total deduction and a fine of 400,000 euros,
It wasn't.
something like
It
that.
takes them off the drivers' championship, not the constructors.
No, it was just off the constructors,
Yeah, it was per car, but off the
Oh.
constructor's title.
which is why
The
Nico
thing-
Hockenberg was not on minus 7.5 when he started that weekend.
Yeah. Oh well, to be fair, it was taking off car 11's.
Yeah,
Well,
car 11.
yeah,
car
18.
11.
Sorry.
It just would have been really
11 and
amusing
18,
if you
yeah.
like super sub and you start on minus 7.5 points. But I wasn't even driving the car for that race.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. When's the last iteration? I think the last time someone got penalised for the team's mistake was Japan 2018, when Racing Point appealed the Renault car and got both of them disqualified.
Yes, because they had a traction control system.
Mm.
Editor's note, it wasn't a traction control system, it was a preset automated brake bias system, which is very naughty. I mean, it's harsh, but at the same time,
It's against
That's
the
a-
technical
it's a-
regulations.
it's a technical regulations breach, not a sporting regulations breach. So it's a bit
But
different.
then this isn't a technical or sporting regulation.
It's a
This is
financial
separate
regulation.
regulation, yeah.
But what I'm saying is you only really see things that affect the driver when it's a technical regulation.
Mm.
Sporting
only-
regulations tend to be reprimands, penalty points, time penalties. Technical regulations are disqualifications, and then
Fines,
financials.
constructors, yeah. We
Yeah.
don't know yet. The only
Financials should
point,
really be teams because the drivers have nothing to do with
Yeah,
spending their money.
it's
Yeah.
the team's job to sort out their own
Yeah.
resources. If the team can't get their own house in order, find the house, not the hobgoblin that lives under the stairs.
the only
Yes, I'm calling
thing
all
that
F1
might
drivers goblins that live under
be
stairs.
made here, and it has, I suppose, been made by Mercedes, is that
Mm.
they had to not upgrade their car because of the financial regulations.
Okay, hang on.
Whereas a sporting advantage could have been gained, which has cost them the World Drivers' Championship. That argument will be made. And I know it's being said that the breach came from catering just now.
quite
However,
funny.
Everyone
That's
has
very
catering.
yeah,
It was
not
like
just everyone has
7.5
catering,
million of catering.
but everyone
it's
had
so
to
funny.
divert funds from different places,
Mm.
including car development. I used the example of they could have spent more money in car development and exceeded it and be like, oh, sorry, it was our catering budget.
If it is the catering budget, I'm gonna laugh so much.
Yeah.
It would be so funny for a team to go over the cost cap because they bought a buffet or something like that.
I told my brother how much they went over, and he just looked at me and went, "That's a lot of muffins."
It's a couple of million, isn't it?
7.5
It's not
million.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
a
it's
lot of
gonna. It
muffins.
says like less. It's in the gap between
It's under
seven
Yeah,
and
it's
a
not
half
in the
and below.
5%,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it is still a lot of money
Yeah,
to
I
apparently
mean,
have been spent on catering.
yeah. So the only thing I will say is, obviously, Red Bull have released a statement, and it reads: "We note the findings by the FIA of minor overspend breaches of the financial regulations with surprise and disappointment. Our 2021 submission was below the cost cap limit, so we need to carefully review the FIA's findings, as our belief remains that the relevant costs are under the 2021 cost cap amount. Despite the conjecture and positioning of others, there is, of course, a process under the regulations with the FIA, which we will respectfully follow, and while we consider all the options available to us."
I mean,
mean-
they're not going to come out and be like, lol, we did it, haha.
lol, whoops, too many caviar sandwiches.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
It'd be so
Um,
funny if they just get a picture of Christian Horner just like eating a steak or something. Just
Yeah,
whack
like
that
sitting
up.
with some
Massive,
lobster.
massive
Yeah.
tomahawk steak. The entire Red Bull team gets like
Yeah.
surf and turf.
The massive 30 people table just all laying there with fillet
Mate,
steaks.
30 people, that's rookie numbers. Get the mechanics in. Let's get the...
Get the catering team in.
Get the
You
F1
cooked it,
esports
now
team
eat
there
it.
as well.
And all the people that they invited as guests.
Yeah.
How can they spend it all too much on champagne celebrating?
Imagine if it comes out that it's like someone's been buying FIFA points for Max on the company credit
Yeah.
card.
Max Verstappen's just got a chronic FIFA point addiction and he's just wasted it all on the Red Bull
I
credit
did see
card.
a thing. it
Max
was like
is just sweating because he spent like 98 million pounds on FIFA points.
I did see something where it's like the Little Britain thing. And it was, you see, I was carrying some muffins on a rear wing for the catering team. I tripped and fell and installed an upgrade to the RB18B.
Ah, damn, what a shame. Those are some deadly muffins, yo.
I know.
Aerodynamic as well.
It's the blueberries in them. It's the blue.
The memes have been great, to be fair.
I mean, yeah. There's two sides of Twitter. There's the toxic side and the meme side.
Yeah.
I like to
memes are amazing.
I firmly like to side myself on the meme side of things.
Yeah.
I saw someone posted a list of like all the nicknames they've had. It was like Max Donald's.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Crash Stappen.
McCheco.
Oh my god.
Max for strawberry shortcake.
So that's where the budget went. Strawberry shortcakes.
Mac and cheese.
Jesus Christ. I mean, that was the end of the race. Do we want to talk about everything that's happened since?
W Series
There it is.
has ran out of money.
Mm. So
they
that's
will-
where the Red Bull money went. They were funding the W Series. Could you imagine if it came out? They're like, actually, we put some money into W Series, and that came out of our money account. And we're very sorry, but
we
can't can't afford to keep you racing now.
Yeah, Jamie Chadwick is a 3-time W Series champion. Surprise,
Whoa.
surprise.
Not exactly. I mean, she posted a tweet about it. And it's like, it's not exactly the way you want to win a championship, but it's a
Yeah.
championship nonetheless.
A win's a win. Get it. Come on.
It's not how you win, it's the win. It's the dub that counts.
So they will not be at the last 3 rounds at Austin and Mexico because they've got no money to fund it. that's part of the reason that there was no TV coverage of certain sessions at Singapore. Even at the track, there was no TV coverage of the W Series session, practice session.
That's not good. That is fair. Damn.
Yeah.
So now I know W Series is very good in my books because the drivers don't need to raise the funds, but maybe it's time to ask the question
of drivers starting to raise some fun. Yes.
I mean, that will go down like an absolute lead bullet.
Take.
Yeah.
That could not have been timed better. Anyway, W Series has ran out of money.
Awkward.
For this year.
Oof. Yet they
Is
say
it-
for this
is-
year,
It's
is
for
if they
long-term-
don't change it, is the championship's days numbered?
I mean, it's all well and good becoming a Formula One support series, but I think Formula One actually needs to step in. I think, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Formula One need to finance the entirety of the running of their support series, but a financial bailout system to ensure that a season can finish wouldn't go amiss.
True.
Especially for people that have bought tickets to the events that W Series were going to. Now, I'm not saying people will go explicitly to see W Series. Some might. But at the same time, there are people that would want to go and watch the W Series that are now suddenly not going to see W Series because they've run out of money. Like, come on. F1's got deep enough pockets to, run enough stupid stories about things. Like, maybe a bit of that could go towards the feeder series.
I think we discussed this at length when W Series first became a support series to Formula One. Did they do it too quick? I still maintain that, yeah, they probably did.
I mean, it's a new series. I understand why they'd want it there. Women in motorsport, let's promote it, let's get it going. But if you're going to promote it and get it going, you need to feed it money.
Yes.
Like, okay, so let's take an example. British touring cars. That's the headline act for the British Touring Car Championship race weekends. But there are numerous other support series that go there with them. Ginetta Juniors, British Formula 4. There's other stuff that happens at a British Touring Cars weekend. Yes, everyone goes and watches the British Touring Cars, but that's all that's available. And yet we have not seen in the numerous years of running, of which all of them I can remember have Jason Plato in them. None of the years have we seen a support series drop out due to a lack of financial funding.
Yeah.
So it begs the question, what's gone wrong?
I think it could be the fact, well, it probably is the fact, a lot of the races are overseas compared to like Formula 2, where like most of them, I say, most of them are in Europe. With W Series, like, yeah, last year they went to Austin and maybe Mexico, but I might be making that up. This year they've gone to Singapore, Miami, gone to Austin. Where else were they meant to go? Did they go to Jeddah?
No.
That's far too progressive for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, yeah. But they've done quite a lot out of Europe. So,
admittedly, none of us are part of these discussions, but you would have to assume that was the decision of the W Series.
yeah.
At the same time, budget? Like, come on. Your first season, you didn't do anything outside of Europe, and it worked well because costs are low. Then next season, you planned to do a flyaway, but cancelled the flyaway due to financial restrictions. Understandable.
They did a flyaway.
Yeah, they did
Right
a
at the
flyaway.
start.
but they then couldn't afford to go to the later flyaway due to financial reasons. Third season,
They've cancelled
Most of
2
it is-
rounds. Well,
Most
Yeah.
of it is out of Europe.
yeah. So I think what's gone wrong is they've tried to expand too far, too fast.
Yeah.
Stick to Europe as your main hub in much the same way that Formula 3 does.
Formula 3, Formula 2 for that matter as well, really.
Yeah, Formula 2 only go to Abu Dhabi.
Now, I know there'll be people that are Formula 1 fans and Formula 2 fans and Formula 3 fans, W Series fans from all over the world. Everybody wants to see it live. Everybody wants Formula 1 to come to their country. Not feasible. In the same way, Formula 2 coming to every race is not feasible, in the same way that Formula 3 is not feasible. There's not enough money in the support series to fund those sorts of ventures, and yet W Series was trying to. Now, kudos, if you can make it work, that would be amazing for the sport. You're bringing women in motorsport to a literally global audience, but you've folded, you f***ed it. Now you're bringing women in motorsport to nobody.
Because I think for some of those girls racing, that could have been like their last chance at having a racing career, because it's free to enter. But now they have to cash up millions just to have another shot at racing, which is very much unfair when there's people like Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi.
Yeah, because we all know they're the pinnacle of performance.
Yes, but they're in F1, whereas some of these people might be as good, if maybe better, in their stages where they are now, but they physically cannot.
I know this is a really
have the money, and it's annoying.
I know this is a really left field sort of comparison to make, but there's a line on a Logic song that he says the greatest rapper alive is probably stacking produce, because he's not got the funds to propel himself to stardom. And it's the same in motorsport. We could be missing the next Ayrton Senna, the next Michael Schumacher. I mean, I know we've got Mick, okay, so maybe a bad example. The next Lewis Hamilton. He doesn't have kids yet, right? They could just be some random dude that maybe goes karting casually once every couple of months and obliterates the competition, but can't afford his own kart, can't afford to take the time off work to go to races, can't afford to take the next step. And we're missing out on that. Now, I know there's a lot of youth programs that are up and coming, and especially with the involvement that Formula 1 is now getting, that like the reach it's getting, I'm sure it'll happen. Like you see before, football teams, they've got youth academies all the way up. But that wasn't always the case. That took a while to implement. But when the money was there, then came the youth programs to bring the talent through. I know we've got... Yeah, go on.
With motorsport, it's also a case of getting the tracks accessible, basically. Because my nearest karting track down in South Wales is 2.5 hours, 2 hours away. England, they're probably a bit easier to get to, because there's probably loads around the country, but I imagine in Scotland it's the same.
Doesn't mean they're good though.
Yeah,
but it's a track like 30 minutes away from me, but it's a casual karting track. Like you wouldn't have a FIA race meet there.
Yeah, no, like that's the same for me. The nearest one to me is only like a 20-minute drive, but it's inside.
Yeah, there is one they use in, I think, the British Karting Championship in North Wales. Again, 2 hours away. But like that, it's not accessible for everyone, because trains are expensive, petrol's expensive, the cost of living prices as well. It's not becoming accessible for everyone, and like you said, we could be missing out on the next Ayrton Senna, Lewis Hamilton, because money.
I know it's something you could probably say about a lot of sports in a lot of countries, but at the same time,
football, for example, or like rugby or anything like that, you can play football anywhere.
The startup costs are significantly less for most other sports. That's the thing.
Because a lot of like football rugby, netball, hockey, cricket, whatever, most schools have a team, like football teams. So my school, we had football, rugby, cricket, hockey, netball, everything. But most like sports like that is quite accessible for everyone if they have the talent to do it.
But think about it. How much does a pair of studded boots cost? Like, you can get a cheap pair for 35, 40 quid.
Yeah.
Well, you don't even need that.
Yeah, I know, but like, okay, where I'm from, you do, because it bloody rains.
Yeah.
And if you ain't got studs, you ain't going nowhere except down. But like, that's what I'm saying, is that's pretty much the only thing you really need to get started to play football or rugby.
Yeah, it's like maybe 50 quid tops for
however
much.
Okay, yeah, like you
Like,
can get a decent football, yeah, like 50 quid.
Yeah,
but like just a football you can get for a tenner.
Yeah.
If you're going ultimate budget, you could probably get shoes and a ball for 30 quid.
Even less, probably.
You're not even going to get one wheel of a cart for 30 quid.
30 quid, you could maybe get half an hour at karting track.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like, if you want to own your own things and set up on your way, you're not getting even one wheel for a car for 30 quid.
You could maybe get a pair of gloves.
Yeah, probably. Would they meet the right fire regulations? Probably not.
Yeah.
You'd just have a pair of gloves then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. What good's that? You look like an absolute when you turn up to the karting track because you've got your own gloves.
Show off.
And then you finish last. Not ideal.
Yeah, full kit.
Full kit, but only turns up with gloves. What else is he wearing then? He's Starkers, mate. He's Starkers.
So a Sparkle set of FIA accredited gloves, €78.
There you go. I was going to say that was about 60 quid, but the pound's tanked, so I no longer know the currency exchange. Hang on.
Be
€549.
around there.
How much?
Sorry, how much was the glove? 78 euros.
How much was the suit?
One of them €549. The cheapest one I've seen is €328.
No,
The gloves are £68.50.
One race suit can cost as much as
exchange rate do you have there?
€1,286.
That's
So,
more
yeah.
than my... Wait, did you say 1,200?
€1,268.
€1,268 is £1,112.49.
That's about as much as my car cost.
Yeah, for race suit.
I got my first car for half of that.
I got my first car for more.
It was a box,
My
but it did me proud.
We love that box.
Until it was deemed unroadworthy because it had a corroded subframe.
But anyway, as we were discussing, W Series has unfortunately run out of money. Time will tell if we see them on the grid next year. They say they hope to be, but didn't Caterham also say that? And Marussia?
W Series and me, what do we have in common? We've run out of money.
But
I said I'm about to go and do my weekly shop after this.
That concludes the news.
All right, Clarkson.
I believe.
The news.
The news.
But yeah, that brings us to the end of the news for this week. There was a lot of news, but I think we've covered everything.
Yeah, sorry, I was just checking when we are. So what's going on next week? Next episode, basically, is more news and predictions.
Probably be more news. We'll touch on the prediction scores and stuff from Suzuka. I think this episode's already long enough, and it's 11:30 at night.
Ben 6, Chris 5, Nia 2, me 5, Sonia 5. There you go, done.
Okay, fair enough.
Nobody got any bold. Nobody got lap down, showdown. Nobody was lapped. So done. Come on.
Yeah.
Look at that speed run.
Marsh.
Did anyone win from social media?
Doom. Hang on.
Yeah.
2 secs, Ted. Tiffany's
There's no
Grand
team
Prix.
radio. You can't say that.
2 6. 2 seconds.
Max Verstappen, so that's 1, 3, 4 points. 1, 3. Oh, KR45 has 7 points. That's the best we got. Beat all of us.
Congrats.
Leclerc's fault.
Yeah.
So hold on. How much did you say the breach was? It was 7.5 million.
Yeah.
Under.
No. I think
Yeah.
it's-
So someone's tried to claim that the damage from the Silverstone crash covers the entire cost cap breach for Red Bull.
Okay. A, this is the internet. Don't listen to people. B, he's an idiot.
C, he's just a really salty prick. Hey.
He probably is. But Hamilton tried to kill Verstappen.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Yep.
But
Matter of
anyway,
fact, not up for debate. This is a factual depiction of the.
Shut up, Helmut Marko.
That was Ferrari's Twitter account, you twat.
yeah. Oh, this is good. Christian Horner's trending on my thing, and the first one is Christian Horner after they stripped Max of both world titles, and it's got the Leeds owner from like 2004, and he's like, "Should we done what we did? Probably not, but we lived the dream."
But yeah, what was Ferrari's Twitter account?
From Singapore 2017, when it was like Verstappen went across and hit Kimi and then came back across and hit Seb. This is a factual depiction of events. No need for debate. Like, come on, that is the ultimate theory.
And then wasn't it also, yeah, we've just packed up and went home, and Matt gave them negative points on the social media team championship for it.
Probably.
How dare you leave?
Probably. I mean, fair enough. Like, both of your cars are out. Get them back, get them gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Go home. Early night, fellas.
But yeah, that about wraps up this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. Join us next week where we'll be previewing the United States Grand Prix.
Kota.
Yes,
More S's.
indeed. But good track. Kota's always. So yeah, drop your predictions and stuff on social media for that. But until then, thank you very much for watching. We will see you next week. Ta-ra for now.